that throws information at you and you passively sit up. Just because you are reading from the books doesn't mean you are going to get better. That is 30% as effective is demonstration. Let me crack 2 eggs, then he adds sugar. Let me add sugar, right? So you are looking at the demonstration and then you are replicating. Hey everyone, my name is Shalima and welcome back to my another session of learning English and improving your English speaking skills with me. So you are about to learn the 7 ways you can become a better communicator than 99% of the human population. Let's go over those methods right away. And this is something called the learning pyramid. The learning pyramid shows you all the different methods you can learn a new skill, and some are significantly better than others, but most people spend their time on the most inefficient way to improve their skills like public speaking and communication. Now these percentage shows just how effective these methods are. The first one is lectures. When you go to school, when you listen to your professor speaking in English in class, what are they doing? They are lecturing. You mean they are talking at you. You sitting, they are passively listening to the information. Let's face it, not for a very long time, because you tune out and then it just gets boring. You don't pay attention. So it's placing you in front of someone or something that throws information at you, and you passively sit there and you take in the information. And most people, let's face it, they are not very good at lecturing. Do you want to be voluntarily sit in front of someone who tells you what to do and how to think? Probably no, not. It's not very entertaining, right? So there is no learning happening because you are just sitting there idly. So 5% of active this just from sitting there listening to a lecture, and unfortunately this is what most education does, and we need to change that. Now let's talk about number 2. Number 2 is reading. Means you buy a book or you buy some texts. Let's say you want to learn how to be a better public speaker and you buy a couple of books. Yes, you will learn, you will feel like you are progressing because we think, oh, I read a book on this subject, surely I am doing the right thing. But there is something known as unproductive procrastination, meaning you think you are doing something that's moving you forward, but it really isn't doing much. I know people who have read 100 books and they say, oh, I read this many books a year, but I haven't seen them improve at all. They are in the exact same spot. That's because just reading is not a very efficient way. Reading can be useful is if you know what problem you have and you are looking for a specific way to fix it. You open the book and you find exactly what you need. You take that out and then you implement it. If you can do that, amazing, good job. And well, get into some of the other areas that touches on. But if you are just passively reading, let's say you want to learn how to play the guitar and you read book after book after book about reading a guitar, how much better will you be at playing the guitar? If you have never picked it up, just because you are reading from the books doesn't mean you are going to get better. So that's why reading is a good, but it's not the best way to learn a new skill. Next method is audio and visual. Means you are learning by listening to something or you are learning by watching something. This is why when you think about a movie from when you were a child, you can remember it. If you can remember the lessons, you can remember the characters, the names, the plot, but you can't remember what slides your lecture covered. You can't remember that the last company presentation. They are really boring, right? So if you can have some visual, the one that I'm having right now, just to add an extra sense in there, not only are you listening to me, you are also looking at me and you are also looking at what I'm describing here, right? So here is a visual element, and just when we have images and pictures, we are able to remember more. That's why one of the most effective way that you can learn public speaking is by imitating Means you watch a video of someone that you really like, how they speak, you really like their public speaking style, and then you just start replicate of it. So this is how they speak. I'm going to say the exact same words the exact same way, audio visual, and you will be surprised how well you will do, right? So when you think about babies, how do babies learn to talk? They learn to talk by listening to their elders, listening to the people around them, and they take on their behaviors. And us as adults, we are no different. Subconsciously we are just taking that in so audio visual much better than just listening to lectures or just reading books. So now something that is 30% as effective is demonstration. Demonstration is when someone shows you how something is done. Let's say you are learning to dance, you want to learn a new dance move, and someone says, okay, this is what I want you to do. I want you to lift your left hand here and put it behind your head, and then do this with your leg, and then spin around, and then spin around and do that. They just tell it. You might not really understand how to do that dance moves, or if they showed you a picture or what it looks like, you might get some idea, right? But you don't know how those pieces came together, right? But if you replace that with a demonstration, means they show you, hey, here how it's done. First you do this with your hand, then you do this, then you do this, then you do this, and then you go. I can't really dance, but you know what I mean, right? They show you each individual steps and you can follow along now. The demonstration doesn't always involve following around, but if you can see someone doing something step by step, you can then replicate it. If you are ever making something in the kitchen, right? You are cooking something, you might follow a recipe video and say, okay, you crack 2 eggs. Let me crack 2 eggs. Then he adds sugar. Let me add sugar, right? So you are looking at the demonstration and then you are replicating, and then this is why this tends to be a much more effective way of learning any skill, okay? And with public speaking, this is so useful because I'll tell someone, hey, here's how I want you to say the word. Try starting your speech like this. I'll say it now. They have listened to me, they have got an audio visual, they know what the demonstration looks like, and then they can practice it themselves, right? So this is the way, this is why demonstration tends to be a lot more effective. Show them how it's supposed to be done, all of these methods. And that's we have talked about. These are the passive methods, guys. Passive methods. Passive method means you don't really have to do anything. You just sit back and you let information come your way. It's not experimental learning. So with lectures, you are just sitting there and listening with, okay, and reading. You are sitting there and reading a book. Audio visual, again, you are sitting there watching a movie or listening to a podcast with demonstration. You are sitting there and you are watching someone do something. Can you see how you are not really doing something? Now, when it comes to public speaking, what do most of us do? When we want to get better at something, this is what we do. We watch videos, we go find, learn with Shalima. We listen to her all day, every day. I'm going to get better. And yes, you will, but it's going to take time. It's going to take a while because you are just using the effectiveness of this method. It's just 20%. Even if I show you how to do things step by steps, it's not as effective as the other methods because I'm going to talk about that are more active. So let's cover those next. These are the active methods. They require you to do something to learn the first step. The first one of these is going to be, the first one is going to be 50% as effective. And then, yes, that is discussion. Yes, you are with other people and you are discussing a topic. Why does this work? Because this is, you exchange ideas, you share your thoughts, they share their meaning and how they interrupt the subject, you reflect back on it and you are involving, are developing a better understanding. So if you have ever read Sherlock Holmes is the detective and he has a sidekick by the name of Weston. And often at times, Weston is saying things that are not correct. They are trying to solve a crime, but he is not really correct about this intuition. And he's suggesting things are not right, but he says enough to get Sherlock thinking, and then he finds the right idea. So with discussion, when you get other people's perspective, it start to connect the dots in your head. You start to understand things, and I feel this is the missing component in education. But what I'm talking about, Sherlock Holmes, this is the chapter in class 8th book, English book, and the name of this chapter is Spackle Band. And this is very interesting story. Alright guys, so when I was growing up and I was learning trigonometry and how to calculate surfaces, areas, and I had no idea why I was learning something, and if we don't know why we are doing something, we just don't want to do it. We don't have any incentive to do it. So with group discussions, you can add that context. You can learn about it from different perspectives, and you can just get a much deeper core understanding of the subject, because you had a back and forth exchange with somebody, right? Exchange with somebody else. So if you were just reading about a subject or just listening to someone talking about subject, but instead of that you went and talked to somebody else, like a friend of yours, think about it like a book review. If you read a book, you might learn something, but if you and your friend both read a book, and then you had a discussion about what was useful for them, what was useful for you, that's going to help you guys learn a lot, because it is better, in fact 50% as effective as some of the other methods. Okay, so now we are getting to the two most effective ways to this. Next one is arguably my favorite, 75% effectiveness, and that is by doing. Doing means if you want to learn to do something, guess what you have to do? You have to do the thing. Can you learn to play the guitar without picking up the guitar? No. Can you learn to surf without ever going into the water? No. Can you ever get fit without ever going to the gym? Well, you probably can't exercise at home, but you can't get fit without exercising. You have to do the things. So if you have been watching my videos for a long time and you are not getting better, or you have been reading other books, or you have been interested in the subject and you are wondering, hey, I have read all these books, I have all of these understanding, why I am not getting better, is because most likely you are not doing it. And let me share something with you guys. There is a big difference between intellectually understanding something, meaning being able to explain something, being able to do it. So for instance, if I am watching mixed material arts, I can tell you which punch they are throwing. I can tell you which judo move they are doing. I can tell you just jiu-jitsu position they are doing. But that doesn't mean if I step in the cage and if I am having a fight with someone, my muscles know those machines, that I know what to do, especially when I'm under pressure, I'm tensed. So there is a difference between understanding a concept and having muscles memory. This is why if you just read about subject, just listen to the podcast, you will intellectually understand something, but you will not be able to do the things, because your body and your muscles soul has not connected with your brain, and it does not know how to contextualize the information. And I will give you an example, guys. I was learning public speaking and I was reading all of these books, and I was just trying to anticipate every problem that I might have. Okay, if I blank out, and this is what I'll do. If I lose track of the audience, this is what I'll do. This is how I open the speech, and this is how I close when I got to the front of the stage. So my problems were completely different, because my body was responding in a way that I was not used to. My throat was getting dry, my tongue was sticking to the top of my mouth, so my back started to hurt for whatever reason. The light glaring at me were making me sweat, and they were building me. Now I had all of these issues, so that I had no solutions to from the book. And the more I did those things, the more muscles memory I got up being on stage, experiencing that, underline it, enjoying that process. And that's when I started to get better by doing so far. So you might not be, stepping on the stage, but how you can practice every single day, how you can expose yourself to getting out there and doing the third thing you want to get better at. And by the way, guys, if you want to get better in 10 days or less, if you want to significantly improve your speaking skills, I have a training. Okay, I have a online classes. If you want, you can join to me, guys, online classes, or as well as, guys, I have started 30 days of spoken English classes on my YouTube channel. If you want, you can join, guys. If you are a beginner, please join. Okay, this is free of cost on YouTube. You are getting a free material on YouTube, so please take it, please watch, please share these videos. Okay, here I would like to just share one more thing that's ever better, and believe it or not, this is something that has made me very good at not just public speaking but also social dynamic, because I will get clients who ask me about a variety of situation. How do I start a speech? So if someone interrupts me, what do I do? If I blank out, what do I do? Okay, so I get people's attention. I don't have enough time. But what if I run out of time? What do I do when I have to explain this to others? Meaning, when I have to teach something to someone else, I have to first understand it so clearly, and that's I need to relay to them in an even clear way so they understand meaning. If I can't teach myself, I can teach others. People, then the concept in my mind is very clear. So if you have ever tried to get good at maths, you have tried to explain an question to somebody else. If you try to explain something really complicated you are doing and you explain it to someone else, it will help your own understanding. And I realize this every time I'm teaching public speaking, I'm teaching in a school. So, and I'm just telling you this personally, guys. Alright, so do this. If you really want good at public speaking, if you really want to be a good speaker, this I have learned by teaching. While I'm teaching, I'm not only doing, I'm watching other people's do and I'm correcting them. I'm having a discussion with them, and as they are trying that thing out, and I'm further ingraining and creating depth in my own understanding. So if you teach something to somebody else, if you can give feedback to other people on their speaking, if you can watch a speaker and just say, hey, this is what they are doing, right? So this is what I like this, and I don't like this, what I don't like this. So if you can just develop that awareness to teach yourself, to teach other people, you are going to get better. In fact, in this, it is the most effective way. So all these things in order of importance, if you want to become a better speaker, find a way, teach the things, and then for. So I think that's it for today's video, guys. And if you like the video, please give thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe my channel. So thanks for watching. Bye bye. Take care.